Hi, I'm Daylin, and welcome to my podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Brea Kennedy, the inspiring owner of The Dressing Room, a sustainable secondhand boutique in downtown Denver. In this very first episode, we're diving deep into the world of fast fashion. We'll explore its impact on the planet and people across the globe and discuss why being mindful of your clothing's entire life cycle is crucial for the future of our natural resources. I actually recorded this powerful conversation with Brea over a year ago, right before my big move to Costa Rica, and I've been eager to share it with you ever since. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Enjoy. Yeah, thank you for being my first interview. I have shared with you, by the way, this is Brea. I have shared with you that my goals for Ecology Media and with my podcast and the various platforms that I'm hosting, my goal is to basically present all of the different ways we can be sustainable in our everyday life. I think there's always this misconception that sustainability is just kind of left to big corporations, or the only way we can be sustainable at home is through recycling and or eating whole foods or something like that. But it can be incorporated in every single thing that we do, and especially in the field of art and communications. And so I really want to spend dedicating my life to highlighting how we can all contribute to sustainability in really unique ways. And I love that you and I connected because I am so blown away by the work that you do here with your boutique. So I wanted to take the time today to really just talk about it and highlight what it is that you do and give you a chance to gush about your business because it's amazing and what you do in the community.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with you. Yeah, once we connected, I was like, ooh, we're similar minded. We're like, hey, let's change things, shake things up a bit.
Hell yeah. Well, before we get started and before we tackle some of these interview questions that I have, I wanted to do a really quick description of what fast fashion is, because that's kind of, I mean, from my perspective, and feel free to elaborate on this, what you are doing with your business with ANDDNVR is tackling the behemoth that is fast fashion. Yeah. So just a quick definition. Fast fashion is the inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass market retailers in response to the latest trends. And it has some pretty damaging effects to the environment.
Hugely damaging. Hi, I'm Brea, and we are located inside The Dressing Room, a sustainable appointment-based boutique. And we are located above the Corner Beat Cafe off of 14th and Ogden. And this project has been something that I've been working towards for a while. I've been hosting clothing swaps for about 2 years and just wanted to really take it to the next level. We can get more into the story, but have an option that is more luxurious, more intimate, and really focused around that connection.
Yeah, and luxurious is a really awesome keyword here because I stepped into this space and I was like, this is my dream closet. Like, I want to have a room in my future house dedicated to my clothing, and I want it to look like this. Yeah. So you brought like my dream closet to life. It's really awesome.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I was going for. I have been hosting clothing swaps for a bit over 2 years. They started with just me and like 5 friends in my apartment, and then have grown to the largest one I've hosted, had over 60 people at it. So pretty awesome. But what I found is that this idea of like circulating clothes or swapping is like still very new. We are in this sort of system and this machine that's telling us like to constantly get more. And like just to put in perspective, like fashion used to have one like seasonal cycle, so either 2 or 4 cycles a year, and now most companies come out with 20 collections, 20 cycles a year. So we're in this machine where there's constantly this generation of clothing in, as we mentioned, really, really unsustainable ways. So both unsustainable in terms of the environment, in terms of the chemicals that are used, in terms of the emissions, in terms of what is being dumped in the water, but also the people and also us, because it's letting us believe that in order to be this person we want to be, we constantly have to be getting new things, and they have to be cheap and fall apart, and we have to be on trend, and all of these things that really are just made up in order to feed the big corporation's pockets. So I said, hey, let's like shake things up. Let's do something a little bit different. I realized that maybe a lot of the reason why some of the stores like Anthropologie or Urban Outfitters are still doing so well is because they are made to look like they would be really trendy vintage stores. Like everything is old school style. But it's all fast fashion. So I was like, I wonder if I take a space and I make it really cute and try to build in that sort of swapping mentality, but with like a little bit of an appointment fee, and make it luxurious with having tea and cookies, if it would work. And that's the journey we're on now to see.
I love that. Can you kind of explain what a clothing swap, or how a clothing swap works? Because I've only been to two, and before I had even been to one, I wasn't familiar with the concept, but I'm obsessed with them now. So talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the swaps, I like to run them very open in terms that anyone can come, they can bring any clothes that they no longer love, and then take anything that they are excited about. And I found at every single swap, there's always so much clothing left over, and it's always really cool to see too how pieces that one person loved is then getting this whole new life with another person. And just because you have that still like personal connection with it, like sometimes people will be like, oh my gosh, I wore that skirt on a great date, and they're like, wow, I get to wear it on this trip. And we love our clothes so much. Like so many of the pieces hold memories and emotions and all of these things. And so I found that the swaps and then the dressing room is going to be a really good way for people to be able to get rid of the clothing that they no longer love and get stuff that they do love, but while also knowing that it's going to go to a good home, versus taking it to, say, like a thrift store where it's over 85% of the stuff that gets brought to like a Goodwill or an ARC or a thrift store unfortunately gets thrown in the landfill, or it gets shipped to countries that don't want it and then they have to deal with it and put it in the landfill. So.
Yeah, because why would we want to deal with our problems ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, let's just, if we can export our problems and our garbage to other countries, like that, oh God. Do you, when you host clothing swaps, do you charge like an admission fee, or is it free for anyone to come? Or, and like also, what a unique business model, being able to like curate clothes that other people have, you know, had great life experience with, or, you know, maybe it's just something that they are ready to move on from, and you get to like pick and choose what pieces you want for your space. Versus, like, I've always found going to Goodwill and going to ARC, it is, I never want to go through the clothes because it's so overwhelming. Like, there's too much to look at, and it all looks the same, and nothing feels like it would be something that fits me. Whereas a lot of the people that come to your clothing swaps that I've noticed are kind of in like our same age demographic. So it's nice to be able to pull pieces that I know are probably going to look good on me because someone that maybe looks like me or is my size or is my like fashion sense at one point wore it. Also, I love that I think some pieces kind of are meant for you. Like when I went to your swap a couple of weeks ago and I found that wetsuit.
Oh my gosh, I think
that was
all the
my
time.
size.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving next week to, you know, go live by the ocean for the next year, and I could not believe that this piece was just hadn't been claimed, one, and two, fit me perfectly. And wetsuits are expensive.
They're really expensive.
So that was insane.
Yeah,
But
that piece came there for you.
Yeah.
I knew it as soon as you pulled it up. I was like, oh my God, that's why it's here.
Yep.
Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, I think the swaps in the dressing room are like a really fun way to practice if you believe in like manifestation and stuff. Because you can be like, I really want something like this. Like I remember one of my first swaps I hosted, I was really like eyeing a lot of like long white floral dresses. And then one walked in, and I was like, "Well, that's for me." Like I was wanting that. So
what a great concept! Like I love shopping, I love fashion, and doing it in a way that feels good, even better.
Some things that we're really driven by, one is like the power of connection. I really do think in this increasingly digital world, and it's not a mystery, we keep hearing the same sort of information coming from every sort of side, that there's this epidemic of loneliness. And that loneliness can have the same effect on your body as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. But because we're in this world where we're increased communication through like digital means and having this disconnect from this physical in-person time, it's just getting harder and harder to, I feel like, have those times and have those spaces. So really the idea behind ANDDNVR, which is the umbrella that is over this, the dressing room, is just to create more of those spaces, and especially those spaces that are unapologetically feminine. Because we've been told our whole lives that like female connection can be so, I don't know, it can be hard, it can be competition, all of these different things, and really just getting people in a room together and like creating these spaces for connection, that is like the key to it.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. And then also places that foster creativity and fun and joy and play is really important. And so that's why I wanted this space really to feel like you're coming into like a dream closet and you get to play dress up. Because that was so much fun as a kid, and I feel like I've never really grown out of it. I love clothes too, and I love shopping, but I'm like, how do I do this in a way that doesn't hurt anyone? So that's really important. And then also the sustainability piece. So obviously all of the clothes in here are secondhand. They're all pre-loved. The majority of the furniture, all of the paint on the walls was pre-loved. The lanterns came from Facebook Marketplace. The swan came from the trash. These chairs pre-loved, all of that sort of stuff.
I love that term, pre-loved. I've never heard, I'm writing that down, pre-loved.
It's like a nicer way of saying secondhand. Sometimes it's like, yeah, it's been pre-loved.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm taking that with me for everywhere I go. Pre-loved.
And then the clothing, to make sure that as little of it goes in the landfill as possible. It kind of all flows through this like 4-tiered bucket system. So the best quality clothing either left over from the swaps, which at the swaps I won't interfere with the clothes unless I like love a piece to grab for myself. It's all very like, people can take as much as they want, but then at the end, every single swap I've hosted, there's still really good quality pieces at the end, just because I feel like people are in some ways craving ways to get rid of their clothing more than even getting new clothing. So those pieces will be sorted, brought to the dressing room. Some pieces will be saved for future swaps. Anything that doesn't sort of fit into those buckets will go and be sorted to be consciously donated to different local organizations based off of their wish lists. And then anything that isn't fit for any of those, for example, anything ripped, stained, stuff like that, either will be upcycled into some like small collection pieces or be given to local artists, or lastly be textile recycled, in order to make sure that hopefully very, very little of it goes in the landfill.
Yeah. I'm very new to the idea of textile recycling. And that's coming from someone that has studied environmental science extensively and is an expert in the field. Like, I am very unfamiliar with recycling clothes, you know, like that feels so new to me. So I love, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Because otherwise, like, I've been in a really bad habit my whole life of either taking clothes that I'm no longer wearing or no longer using that I don't really want to donate because I know no one's going to wear like this raggedy old work t-shirt, you know, either using them for different purposes like rags or like art smocks. But otherwise, I admittedly throw away a lot of clothes. And I think if more people knew about textile recycling, and it was more easily accessible, it would change a lot of this whole concept, this whole practice of waste. But yeah, I mean, that's still really new. Are you familiar with any textile, like local recyclers here in Denver?
There's the, I think it's American Textile Recycling Society, and they have bins around Denver. I'm like still trying to find them. So, and then there's a private company that like does a pretty good job called Ridwell. And you can pay like a membership fee, and they'll take clothes and I think light bulbs and a couple other things. So yeah, those are both options. And then we're working on our infrastructure in order to like handle more clothing to be able to recycle, and also partnering with like different local artists who will use the clothes for various projects. And that's just a project that's like going to continue to grow as we keep sort of bringing in more clothing and sorting it. We'll keep expanding that part of the business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was noticing on your Instagram page the vagina art that you have, and is the fabric that you use to create those art pieces like old clothing or?
Bingo,
okay,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the first sort of workshops that we hosted out of this like ANDDNVR business and idea. And yeah, that happened shortly after a clothing swap. So I had gone through and selected some pieces that were either damaged or, there were some pieces that could have still been worn, but I was like, this will make perfect vagina art.
Yeah.
So I got swooped for that. And all of the canvases for that were secondhand as well. They came from Facebook Marketplace, which is always a really good resource for people to look if you want something more specific. But
So you mentioned that ANDDNVR is like an umbrella for the dressing room. What else is under that umbrella?
Yeah, so my hope and my dream with it is that it's going to continue to grow, and the dressing room and other projects like the workshops and different stuff like that will be able to sort of go under it and then like feed each other and be able to then through these different like income streams grow to a place then we're able to reinvest in other like female founded projects, businesses, and creative pursuits.
Yeah.
But one step at a time. First we gotta build up the dressing room. Well, I think the main thing for sure is the creativity to express yourself through what you wear. Our clothes really can be our armor and be one of like the biggest pieces of either feeling great on a day or feeling like trash. When you're trying to squeeze yourself into clothes that like don't fit or have bad memories or anything like that, it can just be so disheartening. And so really providing this safe space where people can come, they can get pieces they love, they can get rid of pieces that no longer serve them and know that they're going to a new home. I feel like that's really important. And just creating this place where people can like play, have dress up, all of that kind of stuff. And then the swaps on the other hand of this, which both will continue, the swaps are always trying to make them free. They're always at most like by donation suggested, but they're always free. I'm working on like getting those sponsored as well so we can take even more away from people having to pay for it. But those are really accessible ways to get new clothing. And I've started to see the same folks coming back time and time again. There's like a mother, a daughter that have shown up to a couple of the swaps. And I just love that we're like building this community around it. And people are realizing like there's a completely new way to get clothing and to get rid of clothing.
Yeah, it's also a neat like rogue marketing tactic is that whole like word of mouth kind of thing where you have those repeat customers who are going to tell everyone in their little circle about what it is that you do and about the clothing swaps. And every time you post something on your Instagram page or wherever you market your stuff, you're going to have that really tight-knit supportive community that's going to be your ride and die, which I love. But no, I love the idea of wearing clothes as like a sense of armor and being able to step into the person you want to be because whether we like it or not, our clothes say a lot about ourselves. And that is why, actually I have a statistic here, but I didn't finish writing it out. That's totally typically me. But habits, like fashion habits, are varied throughout the entire world. So like you had mentioned earlier, it's these trends are different wherever you are in the world. So our consumeristic habits in America are so different from places like Vietnam and Thailand and and I think that has a lot to do with our GDP and our priorities as far as like what our country wants our money to like, come from and what, how we portray ourselves to the rest of the world. But also, there are these other countries that are basically they are not benefiting from our waste and our trash, and they're having to take care of the things that we don't want. So yeah, places that are more in like the global south, they have less access to what we consider fashion, but that doesn't mean that they're not able to express themselves, but they take care of their textiles a lot more. But yeah, so it's really interesting to me how the waste is directly proportional to the habits that we embody in our countries and around the world.
This machine that's like been built for us as a part of it, like really isn't benefiting the people that are like creating the clothes. Like the average garment worker today makes, I believe it's 34 cents. And I believe that's an hour, but it's the same wage that people working in factories in the 1800s made. Yeah. So to put that in perspective, like our world has changed a lot. Like we didn't have indoor plumbing until well past like 1900s. So we're talking like indoor plumbing was like wouldn't have even been something someone would have conceived of. That was the same amount of money that people in like our today's world are making. And these fast fashion companies are making a ton of money. And like when we think fast fashion, it's not just like the Shein, the H&M, although those places are really like big contenders too. It's really anywhere that you're going to buy like new clothing, unless it's specifically like ethically made. You know, it would be the Ross, it would be the Marshalls, it would be the Urban Outfitters, it would be the Nordstroms, the Macy's, like all of those. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean that it's not fast fashion, and doesn't mean that it's not being made in a way that's like ethical or caring about the planet or the people that are making it.
Totally. I mean, yeah, those are two, I mean, it's all like connected, but we have the damage to the planet on one side, but then we also have the humanitarian crisis that is textile factory work. And like, I mean, yeah, these people are working for pitifully low wages, 18, 20-hour days, and they're not getting any of the benefits from it. They're barely able to make ends meet. And this is, you know, only from what I've been able to do in my own research. Like, I've actually never seen any of this in person, but I know that, you know, it's detached from our everyday reality for a very specific reason. 20% of global wastewater comes from textile dyeing, which is often found in countries with less regulation, where wastewater finds its way into rivers and seas. So the dyes themselves are usually full of like toxic chemicals that people are, you know, having to deal with without any PPE, without any like protective equipment. And then it's getting washed into the same rivers that they rely on for all of their freshwater needs. 20% of global wastewater is from textile dyeing. That's an enormous amount of water.
Well, clothing is the third largest manufacturing industry right now in terms of emissions. So it's huge. And the thing is, we don't need more clothes. Like, there's already enough clothing on this planet to clothe the next 6 generations. Like, we are in no shortage of clothing. It's just that what we're marketed as how you get clothes that you feel cute in or confident or all this stuff, or for cheap, is that it's all new stuff that's like really poorly made. So
fast fashion generated more carbon emissions than aviation and shipping combined. Now, these statistics are coming from earth.org, which is a reputable source, but yeah, that blows me away, because we always think of like transportation as being the biggest source of emissions. Transportation, agriculture, and I guess fast fashion are the top 3. So, and yeah, not to mention the microplastics. So fast fashion produces 500,000 tons of microplastics, which is becoming, I love that it's becoming more, it's brought to our attention a lot more, the concept of microplastics, because that's fairly new. I would say within the last decade is something we've recognized as a problem. But microplastics are so prolific. We're seeing it in our food, we're seeing it in our water. Infants, newborn infants are being born with microplastics in their blood, which is insane. And it's in our air, it's in everything. And the more we can cut down on that, the better we're going to be overall. But as of right now, it's a huge problem that we can't tackle.
I feel like that's a problem with like everything in the sustainability world, is that it all like starts to feel so big and so heavy, and like we can't tackle any of it. And I think that's why a lot of people still like don't take action towards it. Like, I don't really think there's anyone right now who would think that this is not an issue, that we're not like heading towards a huge issue with this. But I think it's like the inaction that comes from just the overwhelm of it. But remembering that there's like really little things that you can do that make a difference, like even just in your mindset. Like, the biggest thing you can do across the board is like to just use what you have, and to like, you know, you don't have to go through your closet and get rid of everything that has microplastics in it. Like, if you would like to do that, like, go for it. But honestly, that's not achievable for most people, because we want to feel cute. We want to wear synthetic fabrics sometimes.
Or we can't afford the more sustainable alternative.
Or we can't afford it. So just like using what you have before you go out and buy a new one, or trading or swapping or any of those sorts of things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Are there any upcoming events or collaborations that you're excited for?
Yeah, we have 2 events coming up. We're still sorting out some of the details, but we have an event that's going to be at the Botanical Bakery of Denver, and that is going to be a live music, candle painting, and tea.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so really on that sort of like fun, creativity, feminine energy end of the spectrum. And then we also have another clothing swap coming up, and that's going to be on Tuesday, August 15th. At Off the Bottle, the refill store next to City-O City.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that you're bringing all of these elements together.
For sure. I love, collaboration is like my jam.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And I'm like, why would I do things alone when I have to?
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you highlight some of the challenges you face in promoting sustainable fashion and reducing fast fashion, and how do you overcome these challenges and inspire change in consumer behavior?
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that still exists around secondhand fashion is the idea that either you won't be able to find pieces that fit you or that you like or that are unique or that are on trend, or the other side of the spectrum that there's only pieces that are really unique and that you won't be able to find like the comfortable basics and all of that kind of stuff. But really all of that is untrue. Like when you think about all of our closets, like we have so much clothes, we have so much variety in them. Like if people are going through and getting rid of stuff they no longer love, like you're gonna find everything.
Yeah.
You're gonna find every size, and unless you're only wearing clothes that are like tailor-made to your body, you're gonna find pieces that fit you, you're gonna find pieces that you feel really good in, and it also might like push you to try things outside of your comfort zone. And that can be a really cool thing too, because sometimes when you try on something that you weren't sure about, it can be like your new favorite piece, and like we said, it can sort of shift your identity and change into this like next level of who you are and who you want to become.
Not to mention the hidden gems that you might come across when it comes to pre-loved fashion. I love to thrift, and I have this really uncanny ability to find pieces that retail for a lot higher than what I bought them for. Like I had gotten this, it's like this one-piece copper romper from Urban Outfitters, and it retails for $80, but I bought it for maybe like $6 at Goodwill.
Yeah.
And I also bought a pair of pink velvet ankle high-heeled boots from Steve Madden, brand new.
Oh my goodness.
They were like $3 or $4 at Goodwill. They retail for over $100. And yeah, I have quite a few stories like that, but those are the two that come to mind that I love those pieces to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know. And people are so easy, like willing to give up things that they're just sitting on that they don't understand the value of. I love being able to find unique pieces and not just like have to sift through 10 items that are just varying sizes. Everything is a little bit different.
The whole idea of the dressing room is really that you're going to be able to come to this space, you're going to be able to play and have like a luxurious shopping experience. So almost taking a page out of like the wedding dress shopping, approach. Our space is appointment based. So you make an appointment. If it's just you, it's $40. If it's you and a friend, it's $66. If it's you and two friends, it's $90, and so on. And when you make that appointment, you have the entire room to yourself to play with. You get 15 credits included in that, and a cup of tea and a treat, which you had a cookie earlier.
Yep.
We have yummy treats. And just really having that support too of whoever is working as your stylist, to be able to help you pick pieces that maybe you wouldn't have been drawn to, but we think would look really cute on you. Or, it's really like your time to use however you'd like. So if you want to just like sit here and hang out with someone, like that's cool too. Like we're here, we're holding this space, and we have lots of cute clothes to try on.
Yeah. How does the credit system work?
Yeah, so every piece has a credit value on it. On a clothespin. So the majority of the pieces are between, I would say, 2 and 6 credits.
Okay.
There's some pieces that are like genuine vintage pieces that range a bit higher than that, but included in the appointment fee, like I said, is 15 credits. And if you bring in clothing that you no longer love and help support our mission of being circular, then you get either an additional 5, 10, or 15 credits. So you can have 30 credits to shop with for your appointment, all for $40. And like the other day, me and a friend put together a whole capsule wardrobe with over 22 outfits out of that 30
I love that.
credits. So for $40, we put together 2 pairs of pants, 2 overshirts, 2 t-shirts, and a tank top, and mixed and matched them, and you can create so many outfits. So
I love that.
really there's a lot you can do with it, but the credit system was born out of needing to have some sort of value so that not everything is worth the same, but also kind of making it fun and like a game, and then you just get all those points to like shop with.
And you're in a really great location to have like girls' days, because you've got the baker, the like the vegetarian restaurant.
Cafe,
so you've got the Beat Cafe right down there on the corner. Right underneath you is a yoga and wellness center. So if anyone is looking for like a fun little girls' day, just incorporating those three things would be, I mean, the perfect day ever. What is the best way for someone to make an appointment with you?
Yeah, so to make an appointment, you just reach out on Instagram. So we're ANDDNVR, ANDDNVR. You can just reach out and we'll make an appointment and give you all the information you need. And then, you have the space fully to yourself and have a treat and that like genuine connection time, which I feel like is important too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so looking ahead, I would love to see this boutique full of appointments. That's definitely something we're working towards. Also, we're working towards collaborating with more local artists, whether they be different kinds of artists. We still have some blank wall space, so looking to get some local female artists work up there and have that be available on like a gallery style model, so it would be for sale. And then also we're doing in the next month, we're gonna have some local female musicians come by and do like little dress up sessions where they play dress up and record a song, so that we're really just using this space also as a content studio to create things that resonate with us and the community and share other females' voices.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so the best place to find us is on Instagram again at ANDDNVR. And then here we're at 1411 North Ogden Street, like we said, above the Corner Beat Cafe, but we're appointment based other than Wednesday nights. Those are free for anyone to come in from 4 to 7. Sweet. If anyone's like curious about the space but not ready to book an appointment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to sit down and chat with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to see how this grows. And when I come back from Costa Rica, I can't wait to see where this place is at in your journey.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to Brea for welcoming me into her world and sharing her passion for building meaningful connections through fashion and arts. Don't forget to follow her journey and explore how you can support sustainable fashion in your own community by checking out thrifting options and local textile recycling options. If you enjoyed this episode and want more inspiring stories on how we can all contribute to a better future, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. And if this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who would love it too. You can listen to the podcast or watch the full video on YouTube. For behind-the-scenes content and exclusive previews, follow me on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.